And we are live. Okay. Well, thank you everybody who is watching this live. For anyone watching, to anyone who comes into the future, this will be our welcome video. I am Josh, your host of RPG Enlightenment, and I have my co-founder here. If you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Jim, and I am, I guess, half of RPG Enlightenment.
We're pretty much here to introduce ourselves and our channel to all of you. We're pretty much going to be taking care of all of your RPG needs. Everything from all the little tricks and questions that you might encounter in your homebrews or any type of RPG game. If we don't have an answer for you now, we will have an answer for you shortly. But as of right now, Jimbo, if you want to just kind of give them a quick little run through our first little topic.
So, what we're doing here on RPG Enlightenment is we're going to be making guides, doing videos on different things for beginners, somebody that's brand new to the game, or games in general, RPG games altogether. Giving them the basics of what to expect when you play. You go into a game being brand new, you might be a little bit nervous because you don't know all the different lingo, you don't know all of what you're supposed to be doing, which dice you're supposed to roll. And we're basically just going to break it down bit by bit so that somebody no experience can start at the basics.
Yeah, and kind of to just elaborate more onto that. Me personally, I have less than 6 months of experience playing RPG games in general. I personally started back in probably like December around Christmas time, pretty much with this game right here, which was Castle Ravenloft, the actual board game that they pretty much made for people who don't have, an imagination to actually imagine everything that's going around them. And from there, it just all started for me. I ended up falling in love with RPG games. You pretty much get to be anything that you want. All you have to do is think it, and you can be it. And that's definitely something that intrigued me. What kind of made me want to start this channel, and me and Jimmy kind of both agreed on this, was there's not a lot of content out there that is for brand spanking new, like never played an RPG game, never did anything other than maybe a video game or two that had anything to do with like a free world. And I want to make it easy for someone who has absolutely no experience to get into this. So that's kind of why me and Jimmy here decided that we were gonna do this channel. So I guess I'll take over as to our second line. We're pretty much gonna do a lot of creation videos as well, from everything from player creation, breakdowns of the player's handbooks for D&D, probably to start with, because that's a RPG that both me and Jimmy are very familiar with. And then, as we both kind of start elaborating into other RPG games, elaborate more into those as me and him both learn those things. but we're gonna do everything from player creation, magic item creation, pretty much anything that you might need for your home game. Me and Jimmy are gonna at least try to cover it at some point. And if we don't cover something and you want us to cover something, just send us a message on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna try to create a Facebook page at some point this week, so that way you guys can reach us there. I'll keep you posted on that. But we're gonna try to be here as much as we can to help you, and that's exactly what we're gonna try to do. So Jimmy, what do you think is gonna be one of the first things that we're gonna cover?
I'd probably say, probably just the basics of what a RPG is, especially a tabletop RPG. Different than, a video game RPG. There's, I've played a couple of video game RPGs that, there's you have free roam, but there's only so much you can do. And you can't run up a tree and jump out of it in most games, online games or video games in general, if the system doesn't allow it, if it's not pre-programmed into it. Now with the tabletop, you can do anything. And I think there's that kind of openness that intimidates people that have never played before. And when you really sit down and break it down to, you are this character and anything you want, I think that's something that would probably be one of the first things we open up with, is that, this is what it means to play a RPG tabletop game.
Yeah, and to go from that, I guess that's kind of a good segue into our next little thing that we're definitely going to cover on this channel. We're going to have pretty much open discussions between me and him, and you guys as the audience, should you guys be able to make it to any of our live videos, and have discussions on RPG tropes, as to why, dwarves have to be drunks and why they have to be miners and things of that sort. Why can't they just be a farmer, stuck in the hot sun all day?
Or skinny.
Things like that. Or skinny. They don't have to be fat and, long beards and stuff like that. They don't need to be that. So we're going to have just open discussions on a lot of different RPG topics throughout our time here. So we just wanted to welcome you all and kind of just give a brief and subtle breakdown of everything that we're going to be kind of covering. Obviously, over time, we're probably going to cover more and more stuff. But we're just doing this to kind of tell you all that this is kind of our starting basis, kind of who we are, what background we come from, the things that we want to accomplish with this. Jimmy, I know you were telling me before we had the video, about how long you have been playing RPGs. You want to go a little bit into that just to give them a little feel for who you are?
Okay, yeah. So I've been officially playing and really diving deep into D&D specifically, roughly a year and a half. Before that, I had been into it. My grandmother and my aunts and a lot of members of my family have been playing for a really long time, all the way back as like AD&D and first edition. And I inherited a lot of their books. And I actually have some right here. this past Christmas, my great aunt gave me. Let's see if I can get one up. All of her old miniatures that are actually cast. Let's see if I can actually get it where you can see it.
Oh wow!
They're cast, hand painted, and she actually gave me all of her collection. I've just got a bunch of different kinds, but so I kind of inherited all their stuff. And when I was younger, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how complex it was. I just knew cool pictures in the books. And it sounded really neat, and they had explained it to me, but once again, just too young. About a year and a half ago, I ended up running across Don Forgecast on YouTube and watched his videos, got reintroduced to it, and from there, I found Nerdarchy, and from there I found A Fistful of Dice, and it just kind of blew up from there.
Yeah, those are two amazing channels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But as far as all of what I've played, I mean, I've played 4th edition, which for some reason has a really bad rap, but I actually enjoyed it. And then 5th got introduced to me through a friend of mine, and I've been playing that now. I've been a player, I've been a DM, and then I've played Fate. Unfortunately, those are the only 2 I've actually played, though. But I am looking forward to learning just different systems and getting into the different ones.
Yeah. As for me, as far as RPGs go, D&D has kind of been the only real one that I've played on a consistent basis. I've just now purchased the Black Hack, which was a recommendation from Matt Click from A Fistful of Dice. He used it in his Oath of the Frozen King game, which is it's a very rules light concept where you have to roll under your ability scores instead of over in order to accomplish stuff. So I always thought that was a very interesting concept, especially for being new to D&D or any RPG. Anything that's rules light kind of gives you that freedom to kind of go with it as you please, not necessarily being like, well, I don't have this or I don't have that, so I can't do this. As long as you're being proactive, that's always the key. In all RPGs, just being open-minded is something that's always gonna help. You gotta put yourself out of the equation for RPGs. When you're in a role play game, you're role playing. As for me, I'm no longer Josh. I'm, in the campaign that I'm in with Jimmy, I'm Valdgar. I was Theron Holloman in a game that I'm in on Discord. I'm in the middle of creating another character, probably a wizard for Rise of the Dragons. Things of different calibers. You are no longer yourself when you're playing an RPG. You're playing who your character is. So you have to put yourself in that mentality. But we got a little off track. So I'm going to try to do that and bring it into our next little topic here. Jimmy here is doing his own supplement. He's writing it, building it pretty much from the ground up. And me and him are going to be discussing his supplement, over the coming weeks and months with you guys, kind of running his and my ideas across, all of you that are watching live or end up watching in the future that leave comments, to kind of build our world and his world to be what it will inevitably be, and we're gonna need all of your guys' support and all of your guys' help. So we're gonna just be doing a lot of world building, for both his campaign as we discover different RPGs for the different RPGs that we play. Like I said, both me and him are very familiar with D&D as of right now, so me and him are both going to start off with D&D, and then from there we'll break off into other RPGs as time goes on. But this is just kind of us saying hi. Thank you for all of you who are watching now and those who watch in the future. We want you all to grow with us and to see how me and him act now versus a year from now, 2 years from now, as we build not only ourselves but this channel and the different worlds that we encounter, the different RPGs that we encounter, and kind of just go with the flow as far as everything we endure and end up doing. Without all of you, this channel will be nothing. But because we have you, we are everything. I guess you can kind of say that this is the self-fulfilling portion. The more of you tend to watch our stuff and like our stuff, and even if you dislike our stuff, that's okay, because let's face it, my opinion and his opinion won't always coalesce with all of you. It's a fact
or each other.
Or each other. I'll give a really quick example of that. Jimmy's into very dark, blood and gore RPG settings. Me, on the other hand, I mean, I don't mind playing in them, but I like to try to keep that to a minimum and try to do a lot more of the role play aspect where it's not undergoing, blood all over the place and everything like that. So there's always going to be things that are going to be controversial. And that's the beauty of being a human, is that everything is controversial. There's always going to be something to argue about and fight about. But the great thing is that when you end up arguing, usually you end up learning something new. Whether it be you getting mad at the other person and saying something and then looking back at it and realizing, damn, that makes sense. Or you realizing that your opinion wasn't really so much based on the facts of the matter, but based on what you wanted it to be. So we're going to be having those types of discussions. But Jimmy, did you want to say anything about your little world that you're creating? Seeing as we're trying to keep this on world building for a minute.
Okay. I mean, without going too much into it, just give like a brief overview. What I've been calling is Aventura. So if y'all ever hear me say that, that's what I'm referring to. And it's, in this world, religion is everything. The gods are everything. And what kind of makes it different than, probably any other world is the fact that your religion governs your everyday life. So, if you, going off the top of my head, there's a god of war that if you follow the god of war, you literally will not back down from a challenge. It's actually an attribute that your character has. If you are challenged, you will fight. There's no, let's talk this out. It is straight to combat. And it's really just that simple with it. So all the different gods kind of give you these attributes to your character. Um, and then other than that, you'd really kind of look at it as any other fantasy world. I am creating an own magic system where everybody has a elemental adaptation, I guess you could say. They have an affinity. There you go, an affinity towards a specific element, and they that element is flavored into combat, social encounters, and things of that nature. So that also plays a heavy role into your character. But yeah, so I mean that's just kind of like a quick overview of that.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to be diving into that. The more me and him discuss it, and the more he kind of writes about his world. But we're going to try to keep this very loose, very open, very honest. We're going to try to encompass everything about RPGs, from the smallest of RPGs to the biggest of RPGs. Where if you're just now starting off in the RPG community, what would be our recommendation to start off with? Or if you're going to start off with D&D, what's the easiest character to kind of start to create? What's the hardest one to create, but the most fun to play? Things of that sort. Everything in an RPG world will always be as fun as you make it. If you sit there and you're quiet the entire time, yeah, you might have a little bit of fun hearing everybody else say all the cool things that they're doing, but not have any interior happiness about it. And we're going to try to make videos here and there on little snippets to try to help you get out of you when you're playing an RPG. And, kind of just build off that, build all of you while we build ourselves. This is going to be something that me and him, especially in these beginning phases, are going to be a little bit difficult for me and him to encounter and encompass. But the more me and him learn, the more knowledge me and him can post off onto all of you, which is always going to be the amazing thing.
And real quick, Josh, I wanted to, just because you saying that kind of made me want to bring up, I mean, like, I have extreme anxiety. Like, even right now, just knowing the fact that, people will watch this and will possibly comment or dislike or like or whatever. Just the fact that people are watching actually gives me anxiety. Whether you can tell or not, I'm actually pretty nervous. So, this is kind of going in hand with that getting out there. And this kind of translates into role-play games because you might be sitting there thinking, well, I don't want to sound stupid. I don't want, if I say this or if I do this in character, somebody will make fun of me. And that's something that new players, I think, struggle with the most, is that they think that they're going to do something wrong and either be made fun of or something else.
Yeah, I can very much agree with that.
But, like, I mean, I'm an experienced player, and I still get nervous with how people will react. But that doesn't limit me with having fun. And I think that's a good point, at least I believe, to make to people. Fun is that, key. You always got to have fun.
No matter what the mechanics of the RPG, whether it be, mech monsters, you have Fate, you have D&D, you have the Star Wars RPGs. I think they even made a Lord of the Rings RPG. Yeah. They made all of these different RPGs. All the rules are going to be a little bit different off of each other, But no matter what the rules say, if you're not having fun, there's something wrong. And we want you to understand that if you're sitting there at a table, playing D&D, the Star Wars RPG, any of the different RPGs that exist, there's hundreds of them. So I'm not going to go on a tangent trying to list them all. If you're not having fun, say something. Whether it be to the GM, which is Game Master, DM, Dungeon Master, just be like, well, this is what I don't like about this, or I like this part, but this part is lacking for me, or I get really nervous. So if you can just, kind of lead me through it, but still give me opportunities to talk through it, to kind of express myself in a outlined format, so that way I don't feel overwhelmed by it. Those little things, if you don't have that discussion with your game master, you'll never know the true happiness that you can get from playing an RPG. Because when you play an RPG, you're no longer Joe Schmo walking down the side of the street. You can be anything you want. You can be a thief. You can be, king of, La La Land, or whatever you want to be. All you have to do is imagine it and you can be it. And that's kind of the elaborating point that me and him want to, portray to you guys, is that you can be what you want to be. And
it's
me and
only
him,
limited by your imagination.
yes, very much so. And we will just be your guys' scapegoat to getting to that point. Neither one of us have run a YouTube channel. Neither one of us really have a lot of social or, where a lot of people are watching stuff out there. We don't have that type of experience. So we are going to be growing. And that's kind of the point, is while me and him are growing, we want you guys to be able to grow with us and use us to inform you guys and to inform us. If me and him say anything that, doesn't follow the core rules of any RPG that me and him are discussing, there is no harm, no foul in being like, hey, you said dwarf is 6 feet tall. Well, that doesn't make sense because a dwarf is 3 feet tall. There's no harm, no foul in that. We're going to be learning just as much as you guys are, and that's what this is for. You want to introduce ourselves, introduce our channel, and let you guys know that as uncomfortable as it is for you guys to get used to all the rules and the different things that you have to learn and memorize for playing different RPGs, it's still the same uncomfortable feeling that me and him get trying to run these, live streams for you guys. And as you guys grow as players and DMs and GMs, we are growing as players, GMs, DMs, and YouTube hosts, But that's kind of what this is going to be. That's what our RPG Enlightenment is going to be standing for. We're going to do some reviews of some different products as we go along. I'll probably do a couple of reviews later on in the week for a couple different things that I've gotten, over the last couple of weeks for different things. And Jimmy, we'll probably do the same. But we are here for you. And I will say it 1,000 times over if I have to. Because at the end of the day, we are nothing without you.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, if we're covering something and you want us to expand on it, just ask. If if we're on one topic in a previous video and y'all are like, hey, can you cover something completely different that y'all haven't done yet, and it has nothing to do with what we were recently talking about, that's fine. Just throw it out there to us, and we'll do what we can for you.
And to kind of elaborate that on that fact too, we don't know everything.
Yeah.
You know, we're not the dictionary. We don't have the core books memorized to any RPG. So there will be times that you will ask a question and we will have absolutely no clue what you're talking about. But on that same note, we will take note of your names and we will research it and look for it and we will get back to you. I know as for me, I have my phone on me, 90, probably 96, 97% of the time. So
Very precise number.
Yeah, trust me, I have my phone on me about that much. But if you need something, I have my phone on me quite often. So if you need it, I may not be able to get back to you right away, but I will be able to get right back to you. But I think that's kind of the few things that we kind of wanted to make sure that we let you guys know that we want to cover. And Jimmy, I'll let you do your outro if you care to do one, and then I'll go after.
So yeah, once again, I'm Jim. He calls me Jimmy. That is my name, but I like to go by Jim. So it goes back and forth. I don't mind being called Jimmy though. But this is, like you said, this is our intro to the channel. I hope that if you stuck around this long, that you'll keep up with our videos. If not, I understand. This was kind of a long video for the intro. But I hope y'all enjoyed getting to know us a little bit more. I hope we hear from y'all, get suggestions, get questions, and just keep up with our videos. And if you have somebody new to roleplay games, just send them our way. Let them know about our channel, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
And I am Josh. I am one half of RPG Enlightenment. This has been our first installment of Welcome to RPG Enlightenment. And at the end of the night, we wish you all to just look for enlightenment in everything you do. So on that note, have a good night. May you always seek enlightenment, and have a good rest of your day.